Thanks to the network for allowing me to say a few words today. And I would like to just build on some of what Peter has spoken about previously in the facilities management space, and perhaps provide some insight into the role of facilities management in the direction of improving indoor air and some of how that might play out in the Australian context. I work for the Facility Management Association of Australia, which is the industry and professional peak body that supports and represents the profession and the industry more broadly. And so our role is really one of not only advocating and educating in various aspects of facilities management, but also to support the industry and to work with government to ensure that the right regulation settings are in place. And so it provides us with a great opportunity. I guess from the indoor environment space, facilities management has always seen that as a core role, and from the professional perspective, but it's not always been front of mind for the rest of the community, whether that's in the workplace or whether it's more broadly general public. But more recently, clean air and clean indoor air particularly has become the forefront of people's minds. The pandemic has created many things, including a consciousness of the need for indoor air quality to be maintained at quite a high level. In the Australian context, the mandating of masks was a real eye-opener for many people using facilities, and having never experienced that before, became super aware of the need for managing indoor environments much more than was previous to that. The fact that during that pandemic period that there was no flu season or no flu epidemic in Australia, because of some of those health measures, was only another opportunity to raise the awareness of clean indoor air and clean indoor environments. So there's a greater interest now at a public level, at a community level, of keeping safe indoor environments. And that's not just offices as a workplace, but also in other building types. And we're hearing much more about it through our membership of facilities management professionals, shopping centres, restaurants, to name a couple, hospitals and other public transport environments are some of the areas which have been highlighted as super important and where people are really cognizant of the indoor air. Workplace, it's health and safety. In other environments, it's really about health and well-being and promoting the positive aspects of people's health. So we know that it's, and I don't have the research with me, but we know that it improves cognitive function. We know it improves health outcomes, from a respiratory perspective. And so why wouldn't we want to be a part of that journey? Facilities management professionals are crucial in the value chain for building occupants and users, and for improving and educating owners about some of the aspects that need to be a part of a appropriately managed facility. So in Australia, the role of FM is recognised as one of the top 10 professions that's crucial in driving net zero emissions. And the reason I'm mentioning that is because I believe that this indoor air journey, this improving indoor air journey, is really related in a very similar way to the journey that we've taken around the reduction of carbon and the net zero journey. So I suspect the same realisation over time will become around the importance of facilities management in the indoor air quality space. So I think, to build on some of what was already said, is that it's really important that we do have standards. And in Australia, we don't currently have standards around indoor air quality. You can't manage what you don't measure. And so to improve indoor air quality, we need to have a standard that we're measuring to, and that needs to be ongoing measurement, and something which is fairly simple, so it can be broadly implemented across a range of different facility types, and that everybody is aware of what that standard means. And so having the translation of 4 or 5 different metrics which improve indoor air, maybe things like flow rate, CO2 concentration, particulars, and so forth, having that bound up into a system which is easily understood by the public, such as a star rating system, is a space we believe would benefit the opportunity for improving indoor air. And that's a very similar journey that was made in the energy efficiency space in Australia. The opportunity to mandatorily disclose energy ratings in a star format that everybody understood became then really a race to the top, rather than a legislative imperative to drive improvements in energy efficiency. And I think that opportunity exists for us in the indoor air space. Once we let people know at a public level and we let the stakeholders understand what indoor air is, and we measure it and we tell them what it is in any indoor environment, or at least in all public environments, people will make a choice about the environments that they want to move into. And then all of a sudden, as a facilities manager or a building owner, or the combination of the two, working collaboratively, you'll be aiming for something better. And so we let the market then drive the improvement and push it down a path. And that is a very similar path that has happened in that energy rating space. Now, we already have complex systems for rating indoor environment. What we need is a tool which is very simple to implement, so it can be broad-based, and we need a minimum standard for which all buildings will comply. That combination of measurement, management, and the standard is what will drive improvement in this space. And so many examples that we've got. I don't have the time to go through in further detail, but more than happy to be a part of an ongoing conversation. Our three key things will be: put a standard in place, mandate its disclosure to building occupants or facilities users, and then use that as an opportunity to drive the market. And all of that can be supported by a public policy incentive program to improve outcomes and to drive where there is changes needed to facilities, improvement in capital plant or expenditure, that's supported through government initiatives. I'm happy to leave it there and let others take the conversation further. Thank you for the opportunity.